webinar is about how AI is impacting search in 2025. My name is Sean McMean with Vinnie Restoration Marketing. We have over 65 clients across the industry and across the country that we're helping get results through online marketing and growth partnerships. And so what I want to share with you today is about what this means for the water damage restoration business. Not only does this impact the number of phone calls you're getting, but it also impacts how you're dealing with insurance claims. It's going to impact how your employees are learning. It's all sorts of different things. The AI revolution is out there. If you've ever gone through the dot-com bubble and all that sorts of things, it's kind of like that right now. And so I want to unpack what I know is going on today. My promise to you is going to cover these topics, and we're going to do additional follow-up webinars about more specifics as we learn more. These are some of the topics we're going to cover about AI search and trends, and how customers are actually finding you is really changing a lot. And we're also going to talk about some other automations and things like that you can utilize within your business. And then we're going to talk about also what it looks like to have success in 2025 and beyond. The other thing that I promise you today is I'm going to be 100% transparent about what's proven, what's speculation, and what sort of research we've done to back up what I'm saying here. I do not know everything. And I promise you, if somebody tells you they know everything about what's going on with AI, they're feeding you a lot of BS, okay? And because this is changing on a weekly basis. And so I just want to be 100% transparent with you, and I'll show you those differences along the way. If you wouldn't mind, please turn off your cell phones, your Facebook, give me some attention for the next few minutes here, and I promise you're going to get a ton of information out of this. And I've spent a lot of time putting this information together for you. So please just give me a few minutes of your time. I'm going to give you a bunch of resources at the end here. Wrote a book on this. I have checklists for you to do, not only marketing checklists, but actually AI checklists as well. And a bunch more videos that I'm going to share with you. If you've joined other webinars in the past, we have recordings of those, but we're also going to have a recording of this for you to reference. Who am I? My name is Sean McMean. Again, I'm the owner of Vinnie Restoration Marketing. I have a team of about 20 individuals on our team that help our clients. And honestly, I got into this industry because I was personally impacted by a fire. My house burnt down when I was 6 years old. And as a homeowner, I had a flood myself. And that's how I've been exposed. And I know what kind of impact you guys can have on the people that you guys help. And so this is what I've been doing. This is my life's work, and why I have a passion for it. We got a podcast and a book that talks about a lot of that. But enough about me. So we do help a lot of companies across the country, from whether you're an independent or whether you're a franchise location. And so my goal here in 2025 is to help 100 restoration companies. And whether I work with you directly or you get some information out of this webinar, I'm helping you. Okay. And that's my goal I truly believe that you have to give more than you get. And I would love for you to share this information with people that you know, so they get some things out of it as well. Okay. The common issues that we see in our industry right now, there's tons of competition in our local area, right? And the cost of getting the phone to ring is very, very difficult. And there can be extreme highs and extreme lows in this industry. And what we're trying to do is level up along the way. And, in order to do that, you need to have information in order to do that. And the reality is that 10% of the companies out there are getting about 90% of the revenue and jobs. And that's because they have they're joining webinars like this. You guys are investing time to learn what's going on and what's happening, right? And so really, at the end of the day, it's about increasing your visibility, your branding, and your reputation within your local market. And that's going to get you to a position where you become the best known company in your area. And if you can become the best known company, you're no longer a secret, right? And people start referring you. People can find you online. You have referral partners and all of those things. And so that's my goal with these webinar series, is to make sure that when a disaster happens, if they're going to call a plumber, they're going to call a plumber. Maybe you have a relationship with that local plumber. Maybe you have a relationship with the insurance company in your area or the property manager. But ultimately, a lot of people pick up that phone and they want to get quick help, right? And AI has transformed how they're getting that help. And that's what we're going to really talk about today. You're hearing all these buzzwords out there, SEM and AI and ChatGPT and social media and all of these sorts of things, right? And so I'm trying to cut through the clutter of all of that and give you actionable steps. And that's my real goal of this. At the end of the day, what holds true, what I talked about in January 2025, is that these key factors are going to help you have more success in your local market by increasing your visibility where people are searching for your services, by improving your branding and your reputation. It's going to generate more phone calls. Today's webinar, again, is about specifically how AI search is impacting the results that you're seeing online. In the chat, if you would, put a 2 in the chat if you have received less phone calls this year than you did last year. If you would, please. You receiving less phone calls this year than you did last year. Okay. So only one person out of everybody here is only receiving less phone calls. All right. So that's interesting. Okay, so we got a couple more. All right. So maybe those phone calls, maybe you're not getting less, but maybe those jobs are not converting as higher. Or maybe, you're at a situation where you've grown quite a bit and you want to grow more. All right. And so what I'm going to do right now is do you a quick demo of what AI search looks like today. Okay. And so just to give you some context here, there's lots of different AI models out there. And if you've heard of ChatGPT, if you've heard of Claude, you've heard of Gronk, you've heard of Google's AI, all of these sorts of things, I want to give you the changing landscape of what things look like right now. So let me stop this little presentation here. And let's see if I can figure this out. And we're going to go out to ChatGPT. And we're going to do a quick search. Now, the average homeowner isn't going to go out to ChatGPT, but depending on who you are, you might. So there's lots of different platforms. I'm going to start with a couple of them, and we're going to do a same search. I want to volunteer that we can gauge in your specific area. Let me know where you're located at, and we're going to do a live search and a live demo. If you want to volunteer for your location to see where you stack up, see if you're showing out in there, I want to do, please in the chat, put your specific town where you're at, and I'm going to do a live demo here, and we're going to show you where you stack up across multiple platforms. Okay. So let's pull the first one, Laura, Anaheim, California. Okay. So what we're going to do here is this is ChatGPT, and we're going to say, let's say we're going to say water damage restoration company in Anaheim, California. Okay, so I'm going to copy this link here. And I'm going to let Claude do its thing, or I'm going to let ChatGPT do its thing. I'm going to let Claude do its thing. I'm going to let Perplexity do its things. As you can see here, there's lots of different platforms out here, okay? And I'm going to let Gronk do its thing. This is AI. This is Twitter and Elon's platform, okay? So what this is going to do, it's going to go out there, and you could do 100 different searches out here, but I'm just doing a basic search, and basically what I'm looking for is an action-based term, water damage restoration company, Anaheim, California. Thank you for volunteering that. And what you'll see here, these are the top-rated companies in Anaheim, California. Laura, I don't know if one of these companies are yours or not. You don't have to share that. But here's what the results show from ChatGPT. Okay. Now, there's a lot of downloads of ChatGPT on people's phone, and people go to this to ask answers, right? And so what you'll see here, some different highlights. Okay. Length of business this company has been out there. 24/7 services, why you should choose them, fast response, IIC certified, insurance coordination, those sorts of things. You'll see the next one there. You'll see some reviews coming in here. And so these are the companies that in your town are being recommended. And some of these companies could be newer. Most of them are probably a little bit more established and have a solid reputation. So we're going to talk about why these companies are showing up in here versus yours. You'll even see a quick reference guide. Okay, think about this as a homeowner. Who do I want to call? I'm going to look at the checklist here. Okay. And so this is what people are searching nowadays versus the standard Google search. All right. Now let's go to Claude. Let's see what Claude says. Claude is another platform here. I did the same exact search. You'll see ATI, Superior, Vision, Service First, Service Master. Some of these cross over. Some of them cross over, but not all of them, right? So just because you're showing in one platform, you're not showing another. There's different factors that are going into play here. Is this helpful? If this is helpful, press a one in the chat. Do you see what I'm trying to demonstrate here? Okay. So you can do these searches for varying terms, okay? Uh, let's go to Perplexity. Perplexity is an up and coming one, and they actually just released a new browser that's going to compete with Chrome. So what Perplexity does here is it highlights these four companies across the top here, and then you'll notice here it's pulling in Yelp reviews. It's not pulling in Google reviews. Pretty strange, right? So in the restoration industry, why would we have Yelp reviews? It's a critical factor in some of these platforms. Okay, they're trying to differentiate themselves from Google, and Perplexity is an up and coming platform. So you'll see it's pulling in reviews, it's pulling in the maps, it's pulling in image, most likely from your Yelp profile or your website. You'll get directions, and these are different companies here. You'll notice that these companies are pretty different than what some of those other platforms showed, right? They're not all top franchises, but many of them are. There's independents mixed in here and whatnot. So this gives a lot more a different look and feel of it. And then you have this situation here where you have places. So it's kind of competing against Google's Maps places and things like that. So this is Perplexity. And then let's go out and look at Gronk. So Gronk is again a Twitter's version of this, and this is a fast-moving one here too. So you'll see what they're looking at here: years of experience, the services they provide. Common theme here: 24/7 emergency services. So AI knows a lot about these sorts of things based on what you say about your company. And we're going to dive into that more specifically. Okay. Now, what is the difference between these platforms versus the common search that used to happen? So you search for that same term here on Google search, all right? And you'll see Google local services at the top. Many of those companies are out there that a few of them are out there that were on the AI recommendations. You'll see the maps section here, right? And then you have people also asked, and then you have organic. All right. Organic is basically give clicks to the website. Now, this is really effective when you have a search term and a location that is an action search term. But what I mean by that is they're looking for a water damage restoration company in a specific area. Now, what happens if you take that search term and you say basement flooded, who to call, right? And so think about it this way. People are using AI not traditionally where they say, water damage restoration company. Like the average homeowner doesn't know, hey, what's a water damage restoration? They know that they have a problem, right? And so this is like, who do I call for my flooded basement? So you'll see Google local services still at the top. You'll see pay-per-click, and then you'll see these AI overviews here. These are very, very common. And what AI overviews are doing is it's taking the information that you say across your company and it's giving their own response. Okay. So this is some evolution into what Google search is going to. And you'll notice here, who do I call for a water leak in my ceiling near me, right? This is a spoken sort of word that they're just speaking out loud. Who do I call for this? You'll see local services there. You'll see paid ads, and then you'll see the AI overviews right here. Where's the Google Maps? They're not there anymore, right? They're not there anymore. So that's a struggle on search terms like that. But this varies. You could change this up and this whole view could be totally different. Now, what Google decided to do was saying, hey, these AI platforms, they're stealing our market share. We got to adapt and we got to change. No longer can we just go out there and rely on having this whole list of links here and you fend for yourself, consumer. You pick which one you think is best, right? So what Google has launched is their AI search, right? And so basically what this does is they have these AI overviews and then they have an AI mode. So let's do a demo of what the AI mode does now. So if I type that same search in there that Laura so graciously shared there with us, Water Damage Restoration Company in Anaheim, California. All right, so this is new AI search mode. And what it's going out there is doing is it's doing a search very similar to what the AI platforms are doing, the other ones. But you'll notice here, it's pulling most of this information from your Google Maps profile. Okay. And what's the common theme here? 24/7, 5-star rating, reviews, all of this information here. Okay. And when you look at that link there, that is actually clicking to the Google Maps profile. Okay. It's not going to your website. You're going to get less and less traffic from your website. It doesn't mean that your website isn't important because it's supporting your Google Maps profile, but you're going to get less and less website traffic and less clicks to your website traffic. You're going to have one source of truth, which is Google Maps, and then your website supports that Google Maps side of things. So if you ever are doing any marketing or SEO research and you're like, oh, I'm not getting in many visits to a website, that's what's happening. AI search is transforming what search looks like. Okay. And so if I go out here and say a similar question about who do I call for a water damage leak and use this AI search mode here, let me go back here, AI search mode here, and come on, let's click it here. It's not available for all browsers yet, but what you'll see here, AI search, give it a try. Come on, where you at? Of course, live demo doesn't pull up, but there should be an AI search mode there. So what I'm trying to get at here is this introduction. I'll just throw it right down here. This is who do I call for a water leak in my near me? Okay, so this is another listing. You could call a plumber, you could call a roofing company, you could call a water damage restoration specialist, and then it's giving you recommendations here. Drastically different than what this is right here. All right. So I just want to give you a quick demo of where Google is headed, where these AI platforms are headed, and the goal of AI is efficiency. So when somebody has an emergency, they want to make it super easy. What Google is trying to balance here is they're making billions of dollars off of paid ads, right? And so they're trying to balance paid ads in with AI mode. So there is going to be lots of changes in this space because you can bet your butt that they're not going to stop those billions of dollars that they're making off of Google local services ads and pay-per-click ads as they evolve and adapt in AI here. So I wanted to give you this quick demo. Hopefully that was helpful. If it was helpful, give me a 9 in the chat if you understand what I'm talking about there and the differences in the look. Consumers have a lot more choice of how they're doing searches now. And so how do we come up with a strategy to cover all of these, not knowing 100% of how AI is actually recommending these companies? We got some best practices that we're going to share with you, and we got some things that we want to avoid. Okay. So I've got, let me share this presentation again here. Let's go through this. All right, so that was our quick demo. I've got a lot of information to cover here. And the truth of the matter, again, if somebody says they're an expert in this, I am no expert in it, but I'm doing tons and tons of testing. Our team is doing tons of testing. And with a large client base, we can do that to find out what is actually moving the needle. And so if somebody says they're an expert, a lot of times they're probably guessing on some of it. So just pay attention to kind of crazy claims out there. All right. What we actually know is pretty limited right now. But it's growing on a daily basis as we continue to test and evolve. And ultimately why this matters is because emergency calls depend on you getting this right. And so that's what I'm here to help you guys with. All right. So here's the facts on AI search right now. In 2025, 89% of small business are now using basic AI tools. Now you might say, I'm not using those tools, but have you ever done a voice search? It's using AI in the background to give you those answers to the search, whether you've done it in business or you've done it personally. Have you noticed if you're using Gmail, it's actually allowing you to type and actually write emails now for you or draft emails for you. So there's lots of different ways that AI is impacting you. And whether you're doing searches on Google, you're using AI, okay? And voice search is a huge part of this. Pick up your phone, you have an emergency, your basement's flooding. I'm gonna use my voice search a lot of times, right? And so these are the numbers of people that are using voice search. And AI is empowering a lot of that. behind the scenes. And 76% of those voice searches go to things like nearby or local, whether it's restaurants, restoration companies, it doesn't matter. Those voice searches really are impacting, and it has these AI overviews that I showed you there in the demo are having a dramatic impact and less clicks on your website and less traffic to it. So we have to overcome it and over adapt of what things we need to do in order to combat that. All right. What this actually means for you guys is at the end of the day, you need to be utilizing AI in its basic form and optimizing for AI and voice automation and voice searches. And so I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. I would recommend doing some test voice searches around you to see where you stand. And ultimately, AI summaries are really focused on connecting local searchers to local businesses. And so it's a good thing where we're headed, but it is uncharted territory. And so the fact that you guys are on this webinar here today means that you're interested in it. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a leg up on some of these other people because they're just not paying attention to it, right? What happened to Blockbuster back in the day? They went out of business. There's only one Blockbuster left in this world. It's Netflix that took over for them. So just because you're a contractor or your local business doing something else doesn't mean this AI technology is not going to impact you directly. Okay. So let's dive into the next section here of what is important and what the landscape looks like. Okay. So I've broken this down into three basic tiers here. Tier one is must have. We want to be making sure we're paying attention to these things. AI overviews. And there's some stats there. I don't want to read every single one of these, but ChatGPT is a big one. Microsoft Copilot is a big one. And then right shortly below that, Perplexity is one I demoed for you. Claude AI is one of them, and Gronk is another one. There's other platforms out there like DeepSeek and Google Gemini. Gemini is not very good, even though it's Google's product, but it's not as good as some of these other ones. And so my takeaway is to focus on the top two when you're doing your testing and you're looking to see how you stack up against your competition. So here's the other thing is Google's AI overviews, they're really changing the game. And so what basically just happened this year is these AI overviews are generated off of summaries from traditional like search results. So what you say on your website. And so the reason why you're not getting as many clicks to your website is because Google's taking that information from your website and showing it in the search so that user doesn't have to click to your website to find out information. It sounds to me like they're kind of stealing our information, but they can do that. They're a monopoly, right? And so this is what they're doing. They're taking that information, giving recommendations, and actually not sending that traffic to your website. So the overviews have made a dramatic impact on common queries that happen or questions that happen in the water damage space, like, what do I do if my basement floods, or common water damage problems, or my dishwasher line broke, what do I do? Those types of questions are being served up by AI overviews now. And so traditional SEO really matters, like the content generating around those, but getting yourself included in those AI overviews is the important factor, and we're going to talk about how to get you there. Okay. And so this isn't theory. This is happening right now. As you saw in those searches, it is happening right now and critically important for us to take action, and so your Google business profile, if you don't have one and you don't have a Google business profile with an address on it, you are behind. You are very behind. If you have a Google business profile that's called a service area business and no address on it, you are not going to be able to compete with the big players in the market that have that address on the profile. I've done a recent webinar about this, and it talks about these critical factors and visibility in your area. If you have a business profile that doesn't have an address on it, you're probably showing up where you actually verified that profile. But if you don't have an address on it, you have no shot spreading that profile out. It's very, very difficult. Reviews are a huge factor in this. We'll talk more about that. Local content and service area clarity is a big factor of this. And being mentioned in quality services on a local level, or quality sources on a local level, is extremely important. So how do your customers really feel about AI search? Still, a lot of this is unknown. The honesty on this is that, We don't have the percentages just yet because these platforms are not sharing that information. But what tends to be happening is the younger user seems to accept these AI recommendations without a lot more research with it. The older demographics seem to cross-check that information across traditional resources. So you see that overview, and then you're like, oh, I don't know if that's the company. I want to see their reviews, right? And in emergency situations, at the end of the day, the first recommendation is usually the one that gets the most opportunities. So we want to make sure your company appears in sources and citations across the local market that's going to attack all of these demographics. And so that goes back to your online reputation. And you saw in those results, reputation was a key factor in that, showing that you had 24/7 services key factor. IIC is certified, key factor. And improving that credibility is huge. All right. So those are some things we know about search right now. The basics that will always matter. This is what I know for sure is happening right now. And I'm going to tell you what we don't know for sure just next year. Okay. So being genuinely helpful is what AI is looking for. That's what AI is trying to solve. It's trying to be helpful, connecting that searcher with that problem or helping them with that problem, right? And so these are going to work across Google, AI, voice search, and everything. So be genuinely helping, answer real questions that your customers are answering. And this is answering them on social media. It's answering them on your website, answering them on your Google Maps profile. And just be helpful. That's the end of the day. Think about the last time somebody helped you, how grateful you were for that. AI seems to be tending towards that side of things. And the other thing is be easily found. You have to show up everywhere. You have to have a website, Google Maps profile, and listed in major directories. Be trustworthy. Collect genuine reviews. I've got a very specific strategy I want to share with you on how to collect those reviews to get the most out of them. But collect reviews, be professional when you respond to those reviews, and display certifications and credentials across your website. Okay. It's not enough just to say you do water damage restoration services. You have to be certified. You have to have a link from IICRC to your website. All of those things matter, and they're credibility factors that AI is looking for. Be fast and accessible. Obviously, your website's got to load fast on mobile if they do click to it. Clear contact information and easy to find phone number. These are some of the basic things you want to make sure you're doing. Build local authority and community presence. Can't not tell you how important this is. If you're not a member of the Chamber of Commerce, you got to go out there and invest in that. Usually it can be around $400, $450, something like that on a monthly basis, or not a monthly basis, but a yearly basis to join that chamber. That is a huge local AI trust signal that you are part of the chamber. If your competitors are in there and you're not, you're going to be missing out big time. Sponsor local events. Think about if you do a parade. What does it cost you to be a part of a parade with a branded truck? Not very much. Those are people that have eyes on your vehicle going down that street, and then you get a link to their to your website from that local chamber or whoever's doing that parade. Okay. You want to maintain active presence and sponsor events like T-Ball and all of those sorts of things. Be in your community, and then be consistent over time. Regular content updates, review management, all of those sorts of things is going to be critical, and these are the foundational of what AI wants to see in order to trust you over that next competitor. All right. So speculation based on what we're seeing. As I told you, I'm going to be 100% honest with you here. These are things that we don't know for sure. Our best guess on these things is that a strong local brand presence impacts the AI overviews. You'll notice that when he did those searches, you see a lot of big brand names in there, but then you see other independents in there that have a strong brand presence in their community for some reason or another. So figuring out what they're doing and you're not doing is going to be critical to be able to compete with them. As I said before about the Chamber of Commerce, local community events, these are all things that we believe and are speculating that are having a big impact. Having content that talks about what you do is a critical component as well. Getting listed in local news articles within your community. Let's say you helped a home with a fire damage restoration job, or you were out in California and helped your community with the wildfires that were out there. getting mentioned, those local articles, those local news stories, huge, huge trust factors. Okay. This is what we're seeing that has made the difference. All right. What is probably not working, and we've tested this, we're testing it still, is traditional, what's called SEO keyword stuffing, over optimizing your content on your website. It is not working. So if you have a website that has the keyword water damage restoration city, right, whatever that city is, 20 times on a page, that doesn't work anymore. Does not work anymore. You got to talk like people are searching. And so complex technical SEO implementations and people living in 2 years ago, it's not going to do it anymore. Gaming the system by doing some sort of SEO tricks, those are not going to do it anymore. And then going out there and purchasing a bunch of low quality backlinks, those do not do it anymore. At the end of the day, what we're doing is tons of testing across multiple platforms on a monthly basis to see what works. And there's different tools that are coming out now that are measuring these visibilities based on your website and your brand names. And so here's an example of a tool that we use that says, okay, for this client, how many times were they mentioned in Google's AI overviews? That's a lot, right? ChatGPT overviews, Gemini overviews, Perplexity. Okay. And so we're measuring those sort of stats on tools. Warning signs to avoid. Be skeptical when you see these ads out there, somebody claiming guaranteed AI search rankings. They're full of crap. They're full of crap. They don't know exactly what's impacting these. Okay. If they say they have insider knowledge on AI algorithms, not happening, and not unless you're Sam Altman in OpenAI, he's the founder of that, or you're Elon Musk, or those sorts of things. Like, we don't have access to that type of information, and nobody does right now. So be leery of the fast pass to Disney. It doesn't happen, right? The bottom line, if it sounds too good to be true, it's overcomplicated. It probably is, right? Just common sense there. And so what to look for instead, as I reiterated before, helping your customers, and then strategies across multiple platforms, honest discussions about uncertainty, and being a part of webinars like this will give you as much information as we have as of today. Okay. Voice search. Is everybody with me here? Hopefully you're getting some value out of this. If you wouldn't mind, put a 5. I just want to make sure you're all still here and you're getting some value out of this. Okay, great. Thank you so much for the feedback. The voice AI searches. If you used your phone to search on AI, or search on your phone with voice, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. I would love to hear how many of you guys are actually using voice search on your phone. Yeah, very, very common. So what you'll see here, 76% of these searches are for, local businesses, or local businesses, not necessarily that needing emergencies, but local restaurants, local things like that, right? And so think about it. You got a flood in your home. You're probably not going to sit down on a keyboard to find out a solution, right? And so what we want to make sure we're doing is, like, look at the difference here. It says type search in the past versus a voice search. In the past, you might type in there water damage repair. Now in the voice search, who can fix water damage near me right now, right? Or emergency plumber. I need a plumber with a burst pipe. I have an emergency, right? This is human language speaking, and we need to write content that talks like a human and then reads like a human. All right. And so you'll see on the right hand here, common practices and tactics that you can use from natural language questions. And that's really what AI is trying to solve, is those natural language questions that a human would do. And so you can see some examples across the right-hand side here, that talk about those specific topic pieces. Okay. That's going to help you for voice search. As far as specific types of content, you saw in that demo, how many times was 24/7 mentioned? How many times was the local proximity, the response time, the emergency terms that were listed there, right? So the standard content used to be, we offer water damage restoration services. You should be saying, we offer our emergency team responds with 30 minutes, 24/7 for water damage restoration in Anaheim, California, like Laura shared earlier. Instead of saying on your page, we serve the local area, that doesn't mean anything. AI is looking for somebody that responds within 30 minutes, that's going to solve that searcher's need in a specific town. That's how you restructure your content today in order to get the best chance for that content to show up in the AI overviews and to be recommended by AI. And I gave you some examples here to the right of what type of content you should be generating, and you need to make this adjustment pretty quickly. You can, if you've already created a bunch of content on your website, you can go out there and modify and update that content to fit these narratives now, and that will be just fine too. As far as review strategies, as you saw in the demo as well, how many times do those platforms recommend companies with a very high review rating? I get it. It's difficult in the damage restoration industry to get reviews sometimes because insurance is involved and all the struggles that come along with that. But you have to overcome that. You have to have a strategy in place to increase those reviews on multiple platforms. You saw in that demo Google reviews, you saw Yelp reviews, there'll be BBB reviews, even Facebook recommendations are part of that. And so I gave you a list here of what the priority. Google's right now, today, as of July 2025, the highest priority. Then you have Yelp. You saw in Perplexity, it was recommending these companies that had Yelp reviews. Go out there and search your Yelp profile. Do you have reviews on that profile? If not, and your competitors do, you're more likely they're going to be recommended over you. So those are the review strategies. And then also making sure you're responding to those reviews in a professional manner. There are tools that we use within our company here that help our clients respond to those very quickly and giving very detailed information. Now, if you go out and ask for a review, you can ask your client to say, hey, would you mind mentioning our company name in your review text and where we helped you at, like a neighborhood or a specific subdivision or the town? Those sorts of things are amazing. So you can see some examples here I put together. And it says here, you ask for a friendly review, and then you put the reviewer put ABC Restoration arrived within 30 minutes after our call for a burst pipe, so on and so forth, right? They handled several of those key factors that AI is looking for: the brand name, the response time, what they actually help with. The example is missing the location, but you can't get them to do it every single time. So the more you can coach the person giving that review, the better off. And if you get negative reviews, respond to them professionally, and don't just leave them lingering out there if you get them. Okay. Being referenced by AI models. Again, I'm going to reiterate some of this stuff. Local news coverage, industry associations, education on the content, government directory links or boards or certifications, those help. Those are all things that AI is going to be looking at to get you in those models, right? Right. Generalized, helpful content. Partner with local organizations. If you have plumbing referral partners, there's no reason why you guys shouldn't link to each other. All right. If you have an insurance company, give them a helpful document. If you're in Florida and you don't have a hurricane preparedness document or flyer that you're not handing out to property managers, insurance companies, and plumbers, you're missing something there, right? So get them to put that on their website. That's a link right there for you and a trusted signal for you. Those are all things that will help you and give you the best shot of getting recommended. What you'll notice here is paid ads. We don't know for sure how much paid ads actually impacts AI recommendations yet. But what seems to be happening is that if you have some sort of paid ads platform, whether it's Google guaranteed, some pay-per-click ads running, some Facebook ads, it's moving to a situation where search is becoming a pay-to-play environment. It doesn't mean you have to spend $10,000 per month on paid ads, but it means that you need to be spending something there. And again, it's a racket. Google has a monopoly on all of us, right? But at the end of the day, what seems to be happening is if you have some sort of paid ad engagement, you get a little bit more preference. We don't know that for sure, but that's kind of what we're seeing across a number of our clients that has had an impact. Okay. Local service ads versus AI recommendations. I want to touch on this a little bit. Again, I just talked about paid ads. This is a critical gap in most. I would say more people know about Google local service ads or Google guaranteed now, but this is by far a good investment for you. because you only pay for qualified calls that are coming in, and so you can use, as I was demoing, you saw that there was in Google searches, LSA or Google guaranteed ads that were coming up. All right. And so Google's not going to stop referencing those. And so make sure you get certified for that. But you're going to have to also deal with the AI visibility side of things. So have multiple fishing poles in the water. Make sure your LSA is set up, certified. Make sure your Google business profile is set up. Again, emergency content, review strategy, and you're tracking those sorts of things. Okay. How do we stay ahead when nobody knows what's coming? That's the difficult question that we're all trying to solve right now. And at the end of the day, what we're doing is monitoring, testing, and finding ways to adapt and overcome. You don't want to be that contractor that continues to struggle as AI gets more and more rolled out. So you need to be making these changes that I recommended on the content perspective, a review standpoint, testing paid ads as well, and joining those local chamber of commerce, being a part of your community more. It's no longer okay just to say, hey, I do water damage restoration. You have to be a part of that community. And so what I'm representing here is monitor, stay informed, and be ready to adapt. I promise to you that I'm going to keep bringing information that's working and sharing it with you along the way. Now, here's your game plan I want you to work on for the rest of 2025 and 2026. And if this changes, I promise you, I will be doing another one of these. But the foundations do first. If you don't have accurate listings, you're not getting reviews, you're not doing helpful content, make sure that gets done immediately. Okay. Adapt those strategies and ultimately generally be helpful. I was that 6-year-old boy that got his house burnt down. We had a lot of people that helped us. Right. And you guys transform people's lives. Right. So that's why I have tremendous respect for this industry. Be helpful. Number one, experiment, test different ways of doing things, test different ways of answering questions that people have, try different content angles, and then monitor that. Look and see what those people that are showing up in those AI results are doing differently that you're not. Okay. And then be flexible because it's going to change. I guarantee it. The last 6 months have been transformative, and the next 6 months are going to be so even more so. All right. And so foundational, experiment, and adaptation. And then here's my strategy for you to focus on in the next 30 days. If you want to take a screenshot of this, if not, I've got a downloadable for you at the end of this. But baseline assessment ideas over the next few days, whenever you start this. You want to do the Google Maps optimization, look at those specific things. Again, I got more items on the checklist that I'll give you. Review implementation, website content, and then local authority building with chambers and all of those sorts of things. Okay, so this is your roadmap for the next 30 to 60 days in order to get you to show up more in AI visibility based on what we know today. All right. Hopefully you have some key takeaways here that you got out of this. I'm going to share my screen back again. But I'm going to give you a few here that should be helpful. Yeah, so thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate that. AI search is real and it's growing, but optimization requires ongoing research. Okay, so focus on the fundamentals. Like I said before, be genuine on your helpful content and everything like that. And these overviews are going to change and it's going to evolve. The key is making sure you're doing the fundamentals by requesting reviews and voice optimization techniques and everything. So I would love for you to write down 1 or 2 things you're going to check. Are you going to test? Does your company show up in AI in your specific area? If so, write that down on a piece of paper if you would. If you don't have your certifications on your website, make sure you get that on there. Okay. If you don't have a tool to monitor whether you're showing up in AI results, you got to find a tool. These are a lot of things that we do for our clients on a daily basis so they can focus on running their business. But make a list of those things that you got out of this. There will be a replay, Zach. and I will be sharing that with you. You'll get an email on that, and it will be posted on our website too. Um, so I encourage you to write down three, not 20. Um, if oh, 20 25 $2,000 for your local chamber, that's tough. That's tough. You know, that's a lot of money for that one link. But here's what I'll say is, are your competitors there? And do they show up in AI? Then that you can make an educated decision whether it's worth that investment or not. So that's one factor again, that you want to look at for that. All right. So I would encourage you to take action. Never put off tomorrow what you can do today. Take those three actions that you wrote down there, um, and help, find somebody that can help you with that. Again, we help a lot of companies across the country. We have a comprehensive strategy to do all of these sorts of things. And at the end of the day, it's about visibility, branding, and reputation. If you want to have a call with me on your specific situation, I'll give you a demo and a research on how you show up on AI. This is our link to schedule that. I did promise you some resources here, and I promise you I'm going to get you those. So if you go to restorationmarketing.com/2025, the recording will be there after this the webinar. The AI checklist is there today. And so the AI checklist is there today for you to download. You can also download the book and any other recordings that we have out there. I'm going to drop that link into the chat here. And so that way you can download those resources. Let me get that for you real quick. Okay, here's the link to download those resources. And I would love to open the floor up if you have any questions for your specific business or any questions that I can help with. I would love to answer those. Christine, his 30 minutes is very helpful. We did learn a lot. Yeah, I remember you, Christine. I hope all is well, going well with you. You know, again, go to that link, the 2025, you'll download those. You can schedule a call there with me if you want. And we can talk about your specific situation. Every market is different. Every competitor that you're competing with is going to be different. So that strategy needs to be evolved and adapted from there. Hopefully you've got some useful information. I'd love to hear one or two things that somebody's going to do after the webinar here for their specific testing or research on their end. Has anybody got something they want to share that they got out of this that maybe they didn't know, or maybe they did, and it kind of backs up what you were thinking? Go ahead and put that in the chat if you would, please. So nobody got anything useful out of this? Okay, totally cool. I'm going to stalk my business. Yes, yes, definitely. Stalk your competitors on AI. See where they're showing up and you're not showing up. Is something I would recommend. Yeah, the Google AI search and maps changing based on the search terms. Yes, they definitely are, Nicole. Um, Again, if you want to book a meeting with me to talk about your specific situation, there's a link to my calendar right there, and you can certainly book a time with me to talk about this. Um, yeah, Michael, there's no doubt. You have to pay attention to AI. I'm going to do some future webinars of how you can use AI for your actual business, not just AI search, but creating SOPs for your team, training, analyzing your financial and your budget sorts of situations. You can use a lot of these tools to be very efficient. You can even throw in the whole IIC or certification information. You're a member of that. You have access to that document. You can create your own custom GPT. So your team, instead of them coming to you saying, what's those 10 questions they have on doing something, they can go to that reference manual. There's lots of ways that you can use this AI for you to be more efficient. It's not something to be scared of. These AI things are not going to replace humans anytime soon. They're not going to go out and do the hard work that you guys do on a day-to-day basis, but we can use AI to be efficient. And that's what AI search is doing. It's helping streamline that efficiency between that searcher finding an amazing company that can help them. And I want all you guys to show up there, right? So hopefully you can take this information and yeah, TPAs aren't doing it. Okay, I was just reading a couple of comments here. His entire program is extremely eye-opening. I'm going to do a little research on us, research back. Yeah, yeah, no problem. Um, we would suggest to our franchise coordinator to start monitoring our AI results across the franchise. Yeah, it's a critical component, not only just across the franchise brand itself, but at the local level. That's where the phone calls come from at the local level. Christine, it's critically important for you, if you're part of that franchise system, to make sure you're monitoring at your level and you taking ownership of that is really important too, because nobody's going to care more about it than you do, right? And so I would encourage you to monitor that there. So I know we're right at the top of the hour. Yeah, Michael, TPAs are not doing anymore. Yeah, there's a mix there. I know there's a lot of people that believe in TPAs and doing it, but there's that's definitely struggles there with that. At the end of the day, usually you're going to get better margins off of what the homeowner actually finding you online than or you coming in from a referral partner than what you're going to get from a TPA from what I've seen. Been in the industry for 35 years, but only recently had to rely on online exposure. So overwhelming at my age. Yeah, it can definitely be overwhelming. I think there's so much changing so rapidly. There's a lot that people don't know but claim that they know, and at the end of the day, you don't know it until you actually test it and try to figure it out. And so our team is constantly working on new ways to be innovate in this space and be at that leading edge so that we can get our clients as many phone calls as possible. It can be very discouraging and a lot to understand, but you put in the time to learn what's going on out there, and you try to find somebody that's going to be a trusted resource. We can certainly be one of those, or you can find someone else that you trust that is learning about this and testing different things, because not everybody knows everything. So, all right. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this webinar. I really appreciate your time.